Week 1. Our Identity and Potential. Chapter 1. The Great Family Tree. At first glance, this chapter can feel like a dry and difficult-to-read list of names. It's easy for our eyes to glaze over. But for the Israelites who first read this, these names were a powerful sermon. They had just returned home from decades of exile in Babylon, feeling disconnected and perhaps forgotten by God. This chapter was their reminder. Your story did not start in Babylon. Your story started with Adam. It was God's way of saying, I have been faithful from the very beginning, and you are a part of this grand, unbroken story. A breakdown of the chapter. The chapter can be broken down into two main sections. 1. From Adam to Abraham, verses 1 to 27. The list starts with the very first man, Adam, and moves quickly through the generations, Seth, Enoch, Noah, and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth. It then traces the line from Shem all the way down to Abram, who we know as Abraham. What this means, this connects the nation of Israel to the very foundation of humanity. It establishes that their origin is not in a political movement or a random migration, but in the direct, intentional plan of God from creation itself. They are the chosen line through which God would work out his plan of redemption. 2. The families of nations, verses 28 to 54. The focus then broadens slightly before narrowing again. It lists the descendants of Abraham's other sons, Ishmael and the sons of his wife Keturah, and the descendants of Esau, who founded the nation of Edom. What this means, the author is showing that Israel didn't exist in a vacuum. God is the God of all nations, but the narrative is deliberately focusing on the line of promise. The story will follow Isaac, verse 34, and his son Jacob, who is not mentioned until chapter 2, because that is the covenant line. Connecting to our theme, identity and potential, this chapter is the bedrock of identity. It answers the question, who are we? For the Israelites, the answer was, we are the people God chose, with a history stretching back to the dawn of time. For us today, it's a powerful reminder that our faith is not new. We are grafted into a family tree that God has been tending for thousands of years. We are spiritual descendants of Abraham. The potential in this chapter is found not in what any one person did, but in the fact that God was preserving this list for a reason. God was guiding history toward a specific goal. First to David, and ultimately to the Messiah, Jesus Christ, who is a descendant of this very line. Every name on this list, whether they were famous or forgotten, played a part in God's unfolding plan. Reflection questions for your group. 1. How does it feel to read a long list of names like this? Does it seem boring or does it feel significant? 2. Why is it important for a family, a nation, or a church to know its history? 3. This chapter shows God's faithfulness over many generations. How does that encourage you to trust Him with your own future and the future of your family? Key takeaway for chapter 1. Our story doesn't begin with us. We are part of a grand, ancient story that God has been writing since the beginning.